Hey everyone, welcome to Comic Artist Pro Secrets. My name is Ethan Van Sciver. Great to have you. Yes. Good to be here with you. Well, what can I tell you? What a day. Just working my face off. But it's like I said, it is a pleasure to be with you. Hope you enjoyed the chair stream there. Hi Peephole Circus. Hi Jay Hamilton. Hello Matt Webb. Hello Lloyd Aloha. Kay Brady, thanks for $5, says, hey Ethan, what are your thoughts on that Dark Ray lightsaber? I think it's kind of stupid, but I wanted to ask a pro. I'm glad you asked me. I think it sucks. I think it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. It's really horrible. It just, what is it? It's a butterfly knife. It just flips open. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. I don't like it. I wasn't crazy about Darth Maul's lightsaber either, to be honest with you. I thought it was okay. But all of these super creative lightsabers are pretty stupid. A lightsaber will do. A single lightsaber is good enough. Hi, hello. So many people here, so many beautiful people, so many people who have joined the channel, members of this channel. I appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. And by the way, if you haven't joined the channel yet, of course, there's still an opportunity to join this channel. Some of you care so deeply about Comic Artist Pro Secrets. Some of you love this show so very much. Some of you are so concerned with its continued growth and success, and some of you would like to donate, and some of you donate in terms of super chats, and I definitely appreciate that. And then some of you also go that extra mile and join the channel, and for $4.99 a month, you will get your name greened. Your name will be greened. You will be part of the green supremacy. The green supremacy that is coming up. I don't know if I like where this camera is. Let me do that. We got to see the comic books. You want to see the comic books in the background too. The green supremacy, ladies and gentlemen. Become a part of the green supremacy. Get a soy boy sticker next to your name. Anticipate the day when it becomes a Cecil sticker next to your name. And support this channel. And thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you. All right, so let's talk about this. I watched two videos today. One by your boy Zach, and then another one by Clint Sweetcast, all on the same topic. And I don't know, I just felt like talking about it too. I've got a bunch of stuff to talk about. Most of it's comic book related today. You know, quick little glimpse into Star Wars's continued failure and disaster, but most of it is comic book related, and in a way that's good because my videos about comics lately have been doing really, really well. I'm kind of surprised by that. I don't, when I do a comic book video, I don't expect much from it. But lately they're doing great. You guys are watching them, and other people are watching them too, absorbing the wisdom of a channel called Comic Artist Pro Secrets. So why not? Let's do another one here. Let's talk about the state of the comic book industry, and let's talk about this thing that both Clint and Zach found so vexing. And I don't blame them. I find it vexing too. This is on Bleeding Cool. Zach was thoroughly impressed by this. Thoroughly impressed by one aspect of it. God, this is a long and stupid article. Jude Terror, edit yourself. Can you just not, when you're anticipating writing an article this big and it's nothing but sarcasm, it's nothing but stupid sarcasm and pictures of people's tweets, can you just not? I mean, that's too long, pal. This is too long. It's not enough Jamal Igle. We need more Jamal Igle tweets. Fanboy Rampage. Whose job is it to sell comic books anyway? These people are 50 miles behind their own asses. Solving the woes of an ailing comic book industry is one of comicdom's favorite pastimes, with many a theory offered as to why any given direct market superhero comic book only seems to be able to sell 100,000 or less readers, often far less, usually far less, while superhero movies and television shows capture the imagination of the entire world. One theory often offered by comic book professionals is that readers who don't pre-order comics are responsible for comics being canceled, as a comic's fate hangs precariously in the balance of over whether or not retailers know they can sell it months in advance. All right, so Ben just tweeted this a long time ago. A lot of big names in the comic book industry will tweet this advice out to fans. They'll chastise the fans and tell the fans what to do. Almost every week, a truly wonderful, promising, or crackling. Why did you have to use the word crackling there? Why did you have to say crackling? God, already I'm annoyed. I started this stream a little bit irritable. I got to be honest with you. I started this stream a little bit irritable after watching those two videos. We're off to a bad start. Wonderful, promising, or crackling comic. You know when it's crackling is when we're burning it. When Yellow Flash sets fire to it with a flamethrower. Then it's crackling. Gets ignored and canceled. Pre-order your favorite comics. Support the forum. The system is set up for you to pre-order your comics and let your local store and publisher know you want them to print one for you. Print one for you. Even mainstream comics that you are sure are on nothing compares to you. Brian Michael Bendis went through this whole phase where he wrote everything out like a Prince song title. You are sure you are sure are on solid ground. Need your pre-order support. You could be the deciding vote, keeping your fave comics alive. Could I be the deciding vote on canceling some of this shit? I need to decide who lives and dies. Specifically, who dies. I want the power to decide who dies in comics. I don't mean people. Wait, maybe I do mean people. No, I don't. I don't mean people. I just mean comics. I want to choose which comics get canceled and which ones get promoted. And why is it that DC Comics cancels orders for Shazam 9, 10, and 11 when it's Jeff Johns and Dale Eaglesham? This is a good book. Oh, it's late. I see. All right, well. You know what? Do you want it? You want it now, or you want it done right? Though Bendis later went on to change his mind and blame the media instead. Hashtag blame the media for promoting false narratives like almost every week a truly wonderful promise, a crackling comic gets ignored and canceled. Where could they have gotten that idea? What is this right here? Costs to make the book, ancillary sales, trade, foreign, digital bookstore, all of which is completely ignored by most of the know-it-all analysts, the analysts, because they have zero access to that info, because it's literally no one's business but the publishers. If the creator or the publisher think a book on that bubble and on the cusp of finding an audience, if the book might sell to Hollywood. And I'll yell it from the rooftops so I'm blue in the face, but every chart, every column, every report about the comic sales is bogglingly incomplete. Most info, including everything I mentioned above, is never included. It is info that can add up to a huge percentage of a book's profitability. That is probably what is confusing you. You're reading half reports. It's like reading a political poll number, like reading political poll numbers or domestic box office analysis. Just enjoy your comics. Comics are and should be fun for you. I think people would rather, frankly, just watch the sales reports. It's more fun. I love when Comic-Con comes out and you just go, oh. You know, I watch all the videos when Comic-Con, like a new Comic-Con come out, and it's just like looking at the sales numbers, and you're like, you look at the 1, 2, or 3 scams at the top of the charts, like 1, 2, and 3 are all scams. 44 variant covers. You know, brand new #1 Spider-Man book that nobody needed, written by the son of Steven Spielberg, or somebody like that. The son of Adam Sandler is now taking over all the X-Men books. Here's X-Men #1 by Henry Sandler. It's like you get a #1 that's sold for some reason 350,000 copies, and you're like, did Adam Sandler buy like 348 of those? 348,000 of those? I wonder. Others have blamed trade waiters for sealing the fate of quality monthly comics, such as legendary writer and amateur accountant. Oh shit, Peter David. Jude Terror. Boom, good job, my friend. That was great. Peter David famously owed $80,000 in back taxes from the 90s. With none of that makes any sense anyway. Peter David had a big problem. He's like, oh my God, I'm going to hell, and then I'm going to jail in that order. In 1998, and this was like 4 years ago. He's like, in 1998, I don't know, I lost track of my taxes, blah, blah, blah. Made a mistake. I owe $80,000 worth of taxes or something like that. I don't know how that works. I don't know if the IRS can collect on taxes from a quarter of a century ago. I'm not sure that they can do that. But in any case, Peter David set up a GoFundMe to raise $80,000 to pay his tax bill. You could have just written some comics. Why do you... Oh my God! And people gave him some money too. I think he actually, how embarrassed. His friends gave him money for that. His friends were like, "Oh boy, all right, just funnel that money right over to the IRS." That's beautiful. All right. So as for the cancellation of X Factor in 2014, he says, all I did was write a book that got tons of positive write-ups, which I guess is enough to encourage people to buy it when it comes out in trades, oblivious to the fact that books get canceled when you do that. Whatever. No, they don't. They don't get canceled when you do that. Comic book companies are anticipating that right now. Basically they're just, listen, here's the thing. If you want to see a truly catastrophic comic book series, it's one that got canceled before issue #6. If you see a comic book that's been canceled before issue #6, you know it was a catastrophe. You know that it was so awful. Most of the Vertigo books, I think, most of the new Vertigo books got canceled before issue 6. Why? Well, because those trade paperbacks, having a cat spanker on the shelf is just a transitory thing. It doesn't last very long. It's going to be pulled off the shelf in a couple of weeks and then thrown into a back issue bin or a garbage can, preferably. Really what comic book companies are waiting for is they're waiting to create 6 issues worth of comics so that they can put out a lovely trade paperback that stays in print forever, theoretically forever. Like you can go, you can pre-order, you can reorder, you can over-order all of these trade paperbacks and always read this 6-issue package of story. And people do prefer it. People do prefer to get their comic books all together, like, you know, in one kind of binge read. So if you see a comic book that got canceled before 6 issues, it was a disaster that wasn't even worth getting enough material together for a trade. That's just some inside info. Peter David saying that waiting on the trade leads to cancellation. Not at all. No. Not these days anyway. Maybe back in 2014. In these days, companies are counting on the trade paperbacks. They scam libraries into buying them. They scam various other buyers and sources. They will liquidate them to ollies. I mean, it's all about the trade paperback now. I don't even think they pray to sell cat spankers anymore. All right, so others still place the blame. I love people blaming. I love the comic book industry blaming other people, blaming things. Blame readers who pirate the books rather than pay for them. Like Jim Zub, speaking of the at the time not canceled, but eventually canceled Champions earlier this year. Well, I'm glad it was finally canceled. Champions number 5. Why is it Ms. Marvel? Why is this face? Why is this angry, ugly little face with a red scarf and this stupid domino mask? Why is this staring at me on every comic book website? It's not meant to happen. You guys are forcing this character to happen. Nobody really likes her. People aren't excited about Ms. Marvel. You want to know what excitement looks like? Excitement looks like Wolverine. Excitement looks like Wolverine. Excitement looks like Wonder Woman. Excitement looks like these characters that everybody naturally cosplays, everybody wants to know about, everybody gets excited about, everybody formulates theories about. People don't talk about Ms. Marvel. People don't dress like Ms. Marvel, at least unironically. I don't know why they insist. Oh, because of Sana Amanat and corruption. That's why. That's why this is happening. I understand. Okay, so here's Jim Zub saying, Champions number 4 arrives in stores. I'm just looking forward to seeing these people cry here on all these tweets. A couple hours later, comic pirating sites have the issue available and thousands have already downloaded it. One of those sites already has a slew of comments as readers excitedly theorize where the series might be headed. If you love this series of these characters, please consider paying for it. Otherwise, we won't be around long enough to... Please consider paying for it. Here's all the work I did. Here's a cup. Put a nickel in the cup. Would you please? All right, that's the simple truth. We're not in cancellation territory yet, but industry-wide monthly sales aren't good right now. It's a problem. A lot of people are saying to me, like SJWs are saying, we're just going to pirate your comic book, Ethan. We can't wait to read your comic book for free and spread it all over the internet. Guess what, dickheads? I've already been paid for it. You see, this is another reason why Comicsgate ultimately is a superior model to everything else. And we'll get to that. We'll talk more about why Comicsgate makes way more sense. By why our model, our system, our ideas make way more sense than this. Feel free. Honestly, I gave the pages away as I was drawing them. I actually showed almost everything on Twitter. Why? Because it was already paid for. This stuff belongs to the people. It belongs to customers. They have a right to have a look at it. Or not, or they can wait. A lot of people just said whenever you posted something, I blocked it. I didn't look at it. I just turned away. I don't want to see anything. That's cool. Those people are going to have a fun experience when they get their Cyberfrog books next week. That is going to be pretty neat. But in any case, it certainly does counter this idea that you're counting on the mercy of the internet to not steal from you. Anonymous comic pirating sites, please don't steal my content. Please have a conscience. They don't have a conscience. They don't care. They're doing it on purpose. They're disrespecting you on purpose. Get your money ahead of time. That's just probably the best way to do it. All right, but a new theory has entered the race, coming from someone who's spoken on this very topic before in defense of readers. Let's play his theme song. No, we're not going to do this. Jude Terror, don't do stuff like this. This is so goddamn soy-based. Don't be fooled by the contract that he's got. He's still Matty from the block. Or is he? Superstar writer Matthew Rosenberg. By the way, I'd never heard of him until he tweeted, "I'm never going to work with Ethan Van Sciver." Let me shake up my magic 8 ball on that, dickhead. Seems likely. Seems likely you're never going to work with me. Who has previously dismissed the idea that readers must pre-order comics, has taken to Twitter to finally lay the blame for failed comics at the feet of those who are truly responsible. What's that, dear reader? What do you mean? Blame it on the publishers who prop up an insular, complex, and inaccessible direct market system. Blah, blah, blah. Sarcasm, sarcasm, sarcasm. Sarcasm. Hammer of Crom says, hey, watch the GDs, Ethan. Sorry, you're right. I did promise that I was going to do less swearing, or at least less using the Lord's name in vain. You know. Hold on, let me get some water. Yeah. All right, so Matt Rosenberg has a theory. And your boy Zach was impressed with this. He was like, Zach was impressed with this theory. He found it unassailable. I don't find it unassailable. Frankly, I don't. Matthew Rosenberg says, does he have me blocked? Oh, no, I checked. He doesn't have me blocked. He's like one of the few people in this article that doesn't have me blocked. And I would think that he would, because he called me a Nazi and said he was never, ever going to work with me. A lot of people who don't... You know what? Let me just put it out there right now. You guys have heard my music. I am a superstar musician and songwriter, and I'm never going to fucking work with Bono. Ever. Fuck Bono. I'm not working with him. Hey, Taylor Swift, I'm never working with you because you badmouth Trump. You badmouth the president. I'm never working with you, bitch. That's how it is. I'm laying down the law. I want you guys to understand. All of these, all of these musicians, all of these rock stars who are out there bad-mouthing the president of the United States, I'm never going to work with them. And I want to assure you that I'm never going to work with these people. All right, so here's what Matthew Rosenberg says. I wish more comic creators spent less time trying to figure out how to get out of comics and more time trying to figure out how to put more people in comic shops. A couple things. Couple things here, Matt. And speaking from your standpoint, the comic book industry is the Titanic. Why do you want to keep people on the Titanic? The comic book industry is sinking. Everybody can see it. Everybody can feel it. You're being cruel and inhumane by asking people to stay there, especially under these circumstances. They don't need to stay in the comic book industry. They need to figure out a way to make money. Okay. Now, it's one thing to utilize the comic book industry cynically as a way to to get your manuscript, your script under the nose of some Hollywood producer. I don't like that because it's just like these are not comics. These are screenplays that have, a little bit of some really bad drawings attached to them. That's not the best thing to do. But let me tell you something. More people should be trying to anticipate what's coming, and they should be trying to do something about it. Get out of the comic book industry. At least this one. At least the one that's that's dependent on the direct market. I don't blame anyone for wanting to do that. Now, the answer is not to sort of use the comic book industry as a springboard necessarily. It's a little annoying. It's a little bit annoying. But honestly, I don't even really care. I compare the comic book industry to the Titanic. Get in one of the lifeboats. Figure it out. Use a helicopter if you have one. It's sinking. How to put more people in comic shops? How do they do that? How would they do that? And by the way, why would they even care? See, here's the thing. Zach Thompson goes, here. I'm very much here for this. Me too. Other people disagreed. Shut up, Jamal. All right, hold on a second. Back up again. Matthew Rosenberg, you work for Marvel Comics, do you not? You draw the X-Men. You know, aside from the idea of your continued employment working on the X-Men, what is your incentive to promote Disney's properties? What is your incentive to promote their IPs or your work thereon? It's very, very strange. It's a very strange idea that somebody working for Disney or Warner Brothers on something that they do not own, that soon they will be removed from and replaced with a younger, sexier comic book writer or artist. Why is it your obligation? Why would it be your job to get out there and promote X-Men? Indeed, you know, there's that. First of all, there's that thought. And then let me just compound that by saying the companies discourage it. They actively discourage it. And you're saying, what, Ethan? I don't believe it. No, it's true. DC Comics, at the very least, I don't know about Marvel, they send out messages to their, to their freelancers saying, we'll promote the books. We'll do it. We'll do it. If you have some kind of social media idea to promote your comic, could you run it by us first? We just want to make sure that whatever it is that you're doing on social media meets our standards. We don't want you talking about the comics. Hey, you can say, hey, I have a comic that's coming out this weekend. But if you really want to hype up the comic, they don't want you to do it. They actively discourage it. They say, we'll do it. And then they do or they don't do it. I mean, it really is dependent on, their sense of priorities. So honestly, when it comes to this, it's like, yeah, I disagree wholeheartedly. Figure out a way to get out of comics, or figure out a way, if you do want to promote your own comics, do your own comics, create your own IPs. That's the answer to that question. How to get more people into comic shops? How would anybody know how to do that? How would you know how to get more people to go to comic shops? We live in a world right now where people don't want to leave their house and don't want to interact with one another. It's reality. They don't want to. People don't want to go out. It's the same with church. I went to my own church that I grew up in. And it used to be a thing, in the 1980s when I would go to church every weekend, every Sunday. In fact, when you're Mormon, you go to church almost every day of the week for one reason or another. It sucks. It sucks. We had to do this thing. I had to wake up. Oh, my high school my high school years. We had to wake up at like 4:30 in the morning because school started at 7:30. High school started at 7:30. That's when the bell rang for homeroom. Before that, at 6 in the morning, was seminary class every single day. Every weekday. Saturday was your only respite from this nonsense. Seminary class every single morning, and I had to go because guess what? My dad taught it. So my dad would wake me up at 4:30. Have to get ready for school, get showered, get dressed, get in the car by 5:30 for a 30-minute drive to the church, which was in Morristown, New Jersey. 30-minute drive, maybe a little less. My dad would set up the class. So this is I'm just complaining about my life right now. This has nothing to do with comics. God, how did I do it? 4:30 in the morning, every morning, all through high school. I wasn't with it. I don't remember much of high school. I don't remember much of anything. Can I blame the Mormons for that? Maybe. In any case, this was a busy church. It was full of people. People wanted to get out there. People wanted to go to church. I went back to that church. My dad came here. My dad, you guys remember when my dad was here? My dad wanted to go to church. He wanted to go see the old church. I said, yeah, okay, so let's go. We went to church. First of all, there was a bat infestation in the chapel. We can't go into the chapel where, church services are normally held because there are bats flying around the chapel. There were bats. There was a bat infestation. They had to call people to come remove the bats. So that was something, but it didn't matter anyway because they just set up chairs in another one of the rooms. Church had shrunk so small. Whereas there used to be enormous families, like big legacy, I would think of them as legacy families, that had like 9 kids, just like we did. We had 9 kids. There were like 20 families like that. They did not exist anymore. It was just old people. It was just very old people that were there, and no young people, no teenagers like I remember. They had all gone. They had all moved on, and there was no generation that replaced them. Church was empty. Similarly, I went to Andrea's church. Andrea is a Methodist. Went to her church. It used to be a booming enterprise. She used to go there all the time. Her mother used to bring her to church every Sunday. Similarly, it was dead. And by the way, interestingly enough, it has become a gay church. I was like, hey, honey, look around. Like, almost everyone in your church is gay. She's like, what? I'm like, look, there are like 15 people here, and they're all LGBTQ, including the pastor, who's a lesbian. She's like, you think? I'm like, yes. I don't know if you noticed, but that's just something. But the church had shrunk. The church has absolutely shrunk. The same thing has happened all around. People are not getting out and doing the things that they used to do. In the 80s, people used to want to go to comic book stores. They used to get, for the same reason you go to church, there's fellowship. You want to go there. It's a ritual. It's something that you do. It's not happening anymore. All of the fellowship that people used to find, and I'll even add comic book conventions to this, all of that fellowship with your fellow fans has now been replaced with the icy cold digital middle finger of the internet. And that's what people do now. People want to order their comic books and have them delivered. I know that I do. And people do not want to really interact with each other in the same way that they used to. And the only reason people go to comic book conventions now is because John Travolta is signing. John Travolta is getting around and doing these comic conventions now. Think about that. You could meet John Travolta. I got to admit, it's tempting. I would love to get autographs from John Travolta on Saturday Night Fever, on Grease, Pulp Fiction, and Broken Arrow, just to be an asshole. I would love that. I'd absolutely love that. That's the only reason to go to comic book conventions, or to show off your cosplay. If you're a slimy nudist, in private. Like, if you're a nudist, a slimy one, you can pretty much be naked in public in a comic convention. You can just say, I'm Namor. Except Invisible Girl got naughty. She turned my panties invisible. You just have wings on your ankles. Walk around naked. I'm cosplaying as Namor. Except Invisible Girl turned my panties invisible. And there are a lot of guys who do that. There are a lot of guys who just walk around virtually naked at these conventions. Girls too, but that's okay. That's acceptable. I wouldn't call cosplay girls who are half naked slimy nudists. I wouldn't. I definitely would call these gentlemen slimy nudists, though. So, Matthew Rosenberg, trying to figure out how to put more people in comic shops. I don't know. How can we get more people to listen to terrestrial radio? How? It's just not. How do you put the genie back in that bottle? I don't know if it's going to ever happen. I don't know if that's something that people are going to want to do. And it's sad. It's sad, but progress. Aren't you guys progressives? Don't you care about progress? This is progress. This is the definition of human progress. Sometimes it sucks. Almost always, in terms of progressivism, does it suck. Human progress. Sometimes we lose things that we enjoy. Sometimes we lose things that matter. Sometimes we lose things that bound us to closer together as a society. I was talking about drive-in movies the other day. You know, we lost drive-in movies. Can you think of any other ritual that was more special when it comes to seeing a motion picture than pulling up in your car underneath the stars with your loved one beside you, trying to get a little something, something while watching Night of the Living Dead. And all she wants is more popcorn from the concession stand. And you got to go, oh, all right. Trudge through that kind of like soft earth underneath your feet to the lit up, dismal looking concession stand for the best popcorn. I mean, those concession stands are amazing. We're losing things like this. We're losing rituals that matter, but I don't, that bind us closer together. But at the same time, I find so many of these people repellent that I don't mind. It's like, I'm not sure I want to be close together to these people. I want to be close together with you guys. That's what I want. I just want to be closer together with you. All right, so this is his whole thing now. It's a theory that Zach really liked. Zach liked the idea about people trying to figure out how to not spend less time not trying to figure out how to get out of comics. Again, I disagree because I'm a humanitarian. Save yourselves. Save yourselves. And frankly, if you're trying to get out of comics, do it. I mean, those of us who are stupid enough to still do comics, Zach talked about Jamal Igle having a backwards career, but Zach is marching right into the fire. He's like, why don't you want to do more comics, Ethan? I'm like, we lived opposite lives. We're going the opposite direction from each other, Zach. You came from the real world, and now for some reason, you want to do what I've been doing for 25 years. And I've been doing what I've been doing for 25 years, and now I want to have a real normal life. I want to have fun. I want to do something else. Comic books are a grind. Actually doing comics, it's a grind. 16-hour days. I was talking to Andrew about this in the car today. I was just like, you know what? It is not a tenable lifestyle. You want to know why so many people in comics are like single, childless weirdos? You have to be. And there are some people who can make it work, and they make it work especially if their partner is actually a comic book creator too. If you're a comic book creator, marry another comic book creator. 16-hour days of isolation, focused on a single spot, living in outer space, your brain somewhere else all the time, trying to be clever, as clever as you can possibly be, working intently on a pamphlet that's going to be thrown in the garbage. DC Comics is contacting me. The problem with doing this on OBS is you guys can see my messages on the screen. We'll ignore that. All right, so it's not. Imagine this. Imagine being the spouse of somebody who is like working in comics. Imagine that. I mean, it's something else. It's got to be a very frustrating life, and it's no wonder why so many of these marriages just kind of end in divorce. Mine did. It's a difficult thing. It's a very difficult thing. So it's like Zach is marching into comics, but Zach, Zach is not married. Zach marches to his own drum. I am married. I have a 3-year-old. And it's like, I'm going to do much less comics and a lot more living. I feel like I already lived through all of this. Getting out of comics makes sense. It makes sense. I want to do comics. I want to do a few comic books a year, but I want to do them reasonably. I don't want to travel 3 weeks out of every month to go to comic conventions and pretend to be a celebrity with other very weird people who also have egos and think they're celebrities and drink too much. Well, the drinking isn't so bad. We could do that. It's murder. It's murder on real life. It's not a happy life. It's a sad life. It's an insulated life. It's a lonely life. And it's no wonder so many of these people have become mentally ill. All right, so get more people in the shops. Get more people in the shops. Wow, I can talk about this for a long time. I really can. Elizabeth Brightweiser's in the chat. Hey, Liz. Yeah, I mean, see, here's the thing. You've got an example of a couple that actually makes it work because why? They work together. Another example would be Mike and Laura Allred, who are also, Mike draws and she colors. It's the same type of situation. If you can actually make that situation work, that's great. But it's not easy. It's not. I don't think it's a healthy lifestyle. Mostly, I just wanted to eat donuts. Writing comics is a lonely life. Maybe writing is a little bit easier. I think writing might be easier. I'm not sure. Art is something else. Yeah, art is crazy. Okay. So these people are impressed with this idea. Here's Jamal Igle. Oh, God, Jamal. Jamal Yassim Igle. Yeah. I like his middle name. Because when it comes to a Jamal Igle comic, you seem one, you seem them all. Throw him over your shoulder. Do not buy more than one Jamal Igle comic. He says, Matt, I've worn every possible hat you can in this business. Let me see his current hat. Looks good, dude. Which hat is this? Which hat in the comic book business is this one that you're wearing right now? I ask you. Good Lord, dude. All right. Save being a full-time publisher. Putting the onus of getting more readers on creators is wrong. Is it wrong? Blaming retailers is wrong. Is it wrong? Blaming publishers is wrong. All right, well, who's left? Customers. You have to expect the customers to give you more readers, I guess. You just have to. I blame the customers. Jamal, who's left? Jamal, who didn't you name, you jackass? Customers. That's the only party involved here that you wait, is the distributor? We're going to blame the distributor? Let's blame Diamond and let's blame the customers. Let's blame those people. It's not an issue of content either, he says. It's an issue of format. The current monthly comic format doesn't appeal to young readers. That's correct, Jamal. You are illustrating why the comic book industry is dying. That's a reality. Numbers from companies like Random House and Penguin back that up. God, they all talk like this. Mark Waid talks like this too. Oh, God. God in heaven. Oh, why do they all do this? It's such a headache. Jamal, make allowance for the idea that you might be wrong about something. Because you're wrong about everything. So just open the door. Open the door so reality can actually kick it in. It's true. Personally, it took us years of hard work, indoctrination, and thousands of dollars worth of X-Men trade paperbacks to convince our own children who were busy born loving superhero movies, TV shows, and toys to actually read and enjoy superhero comics. Yeah, look, we had to read superhero comics because there was nothing else. It's like there were movies. You got the Superman movie. That was rare. And then you've got Super Friends on TV on Saturday mornings. But the comics themselves were so compelling. And they were much better than anything else. I mean, aside from the occasional... No, Superman was it. The Superman movie was it. I'm sorry, but Batman 66 was excrement. It was... people are like, when are they going to make Batman gay? They already did. in the 1960s. That was, you didn't see that? That entire show was gay. Superman was good. Everything else was pretty much crap. The Super Friends TV show was an embarrassment. And go back and watch it now. It's incoherent. You actually go back and watch the anything Hanna-Barbera is incoherent. I don't know what they were doing. I don't know what Bill Hanna and Joe Barbera were doing. What were they smoking? Almost everything they produced was pure garbage back then. I should read some super chats. I see them piling up. The taxpayer will save the industry, says Zoom 1975. Yeah, in a way. Yes, I told you that. The taxpayer is currently on the hook to save the comic book industry in a lot of ways. Trade paperbacks. Trade paperbacks for libraries. Where can we store our shit? In libraries. Oh, God. In Scholastic trucks. Scholastic Book Fair. Here comes Squirrel Girl. How many issues of Squirrel Girl can we fit on one of those order forms that the kids bring home, for Book Fair Day? I don't know. All right, let me read some super chats here. Let's get caught up. Let me see what's on you guys' minds. I hope there's something on your minds. Usually there is. You guys send me some incredible super chat questions. And I do appreciate it. Look at my great thumbnail. I make myself laugh. You guys have to understand, 99% of the reason why I do this is to make myself laugh. Brian O'Shea says, hope you enjoyed the Wow. Let me try that again, Brian. Hope you enjoyed the drive-in doc with some pie. Yeah, thank you for that. I appreciated that. A lot of people are sending me stuff about drive-in movie theaters, and people are also sharing their enjoyment, their memories of drive-in movie theaters. And it's like, that just hits a nostalgia button for people. When we talk about drive-in movie theaters, people get very warm and cozy about that. And I do too. I love drive-in movie theaters. Again, I recommend for those of you who like nostalgia stuff, just go to YouTube and hit, drive-in movie intermission reels. And then just sit back and watch that stuff. It's fascinating. There's one in particular where a dude just tells people to shut up. He's like, hey, you're in our theater right now. Shut up, or we're not going to let you back in. This is a theater. People are trying to enjoy the movie. Shut up. And no kissing. If we find you making out, if we find you making love, if we find you having the sex, we will throw you out of here and you will not be reinvited. And by the way, the little speaker that you put into your car, make sure that you hang it up before you drive away, dummy. Because what happens is it tears your windshield out. It tears out the window on your side. And it actually rips the whole speaker out when you do that. So make sure to put it back. And they actually had to do reels to let people know that. I would have forgotten. I would have forgotten too. Kay Brady says, hi, Ethan. What are your thoughts? Oh, I read that one. MT, thanks for 10 pounds, says, hey, Ethan, if someone had told you a few years ago that you would be streaming live on YouTube to thousands, would you have believed them? Keep up the awesome work, buddy. Thank you. No, I wouldn't have believed them. And I have to say, I love it. I love it. People don't believe it. People are like, look at you. You're just on YouTube now. No, this is what I love to do. I look forward to it. I make sure I get all my work done so I can live stream on YouTube. It means a lot. And you guys, the fact that there's an audience here, and I don't even know how many people are here. Let me look real quick. Let me see if it's thousands. Well, it's 1,500 and 1,548. That's a lot. That's a lot of people who are just kind of curled up, and we're doing a little bit of radio here. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here, all of you. Kay Brady says, when Bendis and Pals crowdfund, and they will have to, Sweetcast will outsell them. I'm calling it. Yeah, it doesn't. Here's the thing about crowdfunding. We've seen other people who are big stars in comics try to crowdfund and fail. There's a little something called je ne sais quoi, that my French, that some people have and some people don't have. And that is the thing. Here's the thing about these big names in comics trying to crowdfund something. You're overexposed. If people can get your comics, and comics are jammed up their collective anuses with your name on them, and they cost $3 in a store, and they're everywhere, and people can't sell them, good luck trying to crowdfund your own idea when you can't even sell Batman. Good luck. It's like your name on Batman doesn't sell. Or at least it doesn't sell as well as Batman should be selling. If you want to get out there and try to crowdfund something, and based on that, you can expect similar results. In fact, I think you can expect half of the results that you would get if you just sold it through Image. You need to actually have a hook. You need to actually do what we're doing. You need to be on the air. You need to be talking to people. You need to be making a personal connection with an audience. And these people, again, we're talking about people who have had decades of doing exactly what I just described. Head down, 16 hours a day, ignoring your family, working, living in outer space, going to conventions and thinking you're a star. Going to conventions, sitting in a metal folding chair somewhere in a backwater town in Illinois, just waiting with an ego because you were invited, you were flown in, waiting for someone to come in and meet you and hoping they will pay you to sign something or draw something. Mental illness. Can these people actually talk about that? Can they talk about their experiences honestly? Can people who are trained to be dishonest about what they're doing and what they're up to, can they actually speak honestly to a crowd every day, be entertaining? I'm going to say no. I think the world is changing, and I think it's going to leave some people behind. Forge says, what did you think of the Chappelle special? I'm glad you asked. I really enjoyed it. I laughed all through it. Really impressed with him. And I wasn't a big Chappelle Show fan. But I saw a couple of things by him that did make me laugh. And then people all said, you need to watch this special. You need to watch it. I did. And yeah, I laughed all through it. It was surprising. It was really, really good. I agreed with him about almost everything. I liked I thought his abortion idea was cynical but funny. The idea that, women get 100% of the say about that. But if they choose against a guy's will, then a guy can just abandon the baby. I mean, it's ugly, but it makes a certain kind of sense. I'm against abortion in almost every circumstance except for like the life of the mother or severe or whatever. But yeah, I thought it was hilarious. I thought the special was fantastic. I loved his description of the letters community. That was my favorite. All right, let's see. Andrew Westwater said, and also Kevin Hart describing cancel culture was so great. Talking about cancel culture and really like making that clear to people. It's a sin. Cancel culture does have to end, and it's almost an entirely SJW promoted and created problem. My money, my choice. Yeah, it was a great line. I have water on my mustache now. Hold on. I'm going to wipe my face on my shirt. Okay. Andrew Westwater says, saw Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood yesterday. Think you'd like it, EVS. Great film. Brad Pitt's best yet. Great movie poster art, too. Dude, you don't have to tell me. I want to see that movie so bad. I can't get out to see it. It's hard. It's hard to go. I mean, I'm not going without Andrea, and so we have a 3-year-old, and I we have to hire a babysitter. Hunter, I'm not leaving Hunter. Like, Hunter can't babysit. And then I don't know. It's hard to get out to the movies. So I'm just waiting. I guess I'm waiting until it comes on in demand, and I will buy it. The day it hits in demand, I will buy it. For $20, and I'm really looking forward to that movie. I'm a big Tarantino fan. I've seen all of his films. I love them all, even The Hateful Eight. I went to see that on the premiere day too, and loved it. But yeah, this one I haven't been able to get out and see yet. Snarkticon DM says Ms. Marvel variant cover, Ms. Marvel and Ilhan Omar. Mark C says, have you seen Chappelle's new stand-up Sticks and Stones? SJWs were in his crosshairs. It's brilliant. Yeah, I did. Like I said, I loved it. Liam Gray says, Ethan, don't be culturally insensitive. It's not her fault Ms. Marvel sucks. It's against the tenets of Islam to draw anything with a soul. Liam's getting funny lately. James Dean Anderson says, your deacons would love Rainbow the Brute. That's possible. People Circus says, hail trim beard, may pie grease your tips. Do you mean lips? Hail. And James Dean Anderson says, your elders would love Cyberfrog. Razdock says, booth babes are better than cosplayers. We need to bring those back. We got to bring back booth babes. You know, that was a big deal. Booth babes actually got people coming to the conventions and got people, lined up. I don't know why we kill everything that works. The comic book industry kills everything that actually works, and then they go, what? Why isn't this working anymore? I guess it's just because of A, B, C, and D. No, it's because everything that was fun about comics, you idiots killed. I mean, what is this? StubHub, Hootie and the Blowfish are coming. Hootie and the Blowfish are coming. I'm not going to go see that. You kill everything that actually works, that's good. You killed Wizard Magazine. You killed booth babes. You killed sex in comics. I mean, you know, unless it's perverted, weird sex. You killed it all. You killed everything that was fun. You killed heteronormativity in comics, which is bizarre. It's absolutely bizarre. Zach talks about it all the time. You know, you got two girls in a comic and they're going to be lesbian and they're going to immediately fall in love. Like, no girls in any comics have crushes on boys anymore. It's bizarre. What the hell is going on? I notice something all the time about comics. In the 90s I noticed this, and I thought I didn't have the word soy-based yet. But now I do, and I'm grateful that I do, because I used to notice that women were aggressors in the comics sexually towards the men. Now, you would always see, like, Mary Jane springing herself on Peter Parker and kissing him, and his eye would be, they do a profile shot of the kiss, his eye would be wide in surprise, and he wouldn't be grabbing her. He would be more like shocked by her sexual energy, and he wouldn't respond to it. He wasn't responsive to it at all. He was more surprised by it, like, oh my goodness. I noticed that happen all the time, and I think it still does happen in comics. I think it's kind of effeminate. I think it's a little weird. You don't really see male characters taking control sexually of any situation in comics. And I'm thinking about that as I say it. You don't really see a guy. You don't see Peter Parker grab Mary Jane's ass, grab her by the back of the hair, cock her head back and give her a big smooch. You know, you don't see that. And I think that's what normal people do, you know, when they're married. Or when they're dating. I'm pretty sure that's the kind of dynamic. Assuming consent, I'm pretty sure it's okay for a guy to just kind of go for it like that, and take the lead. But you don't see that in comics. You just see men surprised by the fantastic sexual aggressiveness of heterosexual women, and they're surprised by it, and they're like, their little fingers are like flayed out, you know, when it's happening. Like, oh my goodness, I'm being kissed. And by the way, I'm guilty of that too, because I drew that stuff. I remember having to draw scenes like that in Impulse in the late 90s. You know, like Bart Allen being smooched by, you know, another young girl. They were just teenagers, and he'd be like, oh my goodness. And she was all business. It's just weird. Comics are weird. They send weird messages to people. They send messages to boys that, like, hey, you should never, ever, ever approach any woman with honesty or intent when it comes to being, you know, sexual. You shouldn't. You should kind of, I don't know, just sort of, what would you say? You should just be this spineless kind of jellyfish slithering around, pretending to be her friend. And hoping that the opportunity arrives when what? You become the ducky in her life from Pretty in Pink, and then what? The ether rag and duct tape? What? These SJWs, all of these, this is how this happens. This is how this phenomenon happens. It all starts out with Disney, when men get these weird ideas from Disney movies and fantasy movies about what romance is, you know. And then they find out that women have a brain too. And then that tells them that they need to back down and just be, jellyfish. I remember talking to one SJW in particular. His name was B. Clay Moore. I don't want to say his name, but it was B. Clay Moore. And I said, yeah, really, women respect being told, honestly, that you're interested in them from the outset. For when I was single for a brief minute, it's like I told Andrea, I just said, I'm interested in you. I want to date you. Do you want to date me? I mean, not in so many words, but I let her know. I was just like, I'm coming for you. I want you. And, I think that was appreciated. Can we just get together and just, we'll chatter, we'll have some talk, we'll be friends, and we'll just see what happens. We'll just see what happens. Let your intent be known. So I said this to B. Clay Moore, and he said, that is the wrong way to do it. The wrong way to do it is to first make friends with her. First, you need to be friends with her. And then if something happens, it happens. And I'm like, so you're approaching a woman with this idea. You're approaching her dishonestly. You already know in your head that you're interested in her. And you're hoping to con her into being interested in you. She knows already if she's interested in you or not. She already knows. It's like, why is there a dance about this? You're going to lie? What are you going to do? You're going to be her best buddy? You're gonna be disingenuous with her when she talks about other boys that she likes? You're going to sit there and do what? Seethe inside? Pretend to be her friend. Stop lying to people. Just be like, I'm into you. Let me take you out. Let me take you out. Dinner and a movie. It's so dumb. And SJWs all get these ideas that there's some kind of weird shortcut. Their mating rituals are bizarre, and they're completely penisless. How did I get on this topic? Oh, booth babes versus cosplayers. Like, everything good in the world has been taken away by SJWs. It's true. It's absolutely true. James Dean Anderson says, your church's good college girls would love Cecil. You meet the best girls at church. There's no doubt about that. If you're looking for a real, if you're looking for a good girl, absolutely go to church. Johnny Dollar says, in the Brady Bunch, drive-ins include frogs. Really? Chris Croissant says, the racing industry is hard on families too. I totally get it. Thank God we don't have SJWs to deal with. They aren't into fast cars. They will be. First, they're going to try to slow down your cars. They're going to say, why aren't they electric? Why aren't they more environmentally conscious? How come? That's the next thing you guys are going to get to deal with. Why am I dehydrated today? I feel dehydrated. Let's see. King of Churros says, being an idea man is less work. Yeah, that's true. Just give people ideas and make everybody else do them. That's a thought. Liam Gray says, perhaps the global art studio of Comicsgate is a blessing in disguise. Maybe YouTube is a huge blessing in disguise. Hashtag you are not alone. Well, YouTube is nice. And Comicsgate is a blessing. I don't even think it's a blessing in disguise. I think it's an out and out blessing. And I think that, these same weirdos that are having this argument with each other are demonizing Comicsgate without even taking a real look at it. I don't know why they want to lie. I don't know why these people want to lie about everything all the time. Why do you guys want to lie about Comicsgate? It could be your life preserver. It's the future. It is the future. Sure, implicit, there's a scolding. Sure, implicit in Comicsgate, built right in, is a spanking across your bottoms for your poor behavior. and for destroying the comic book industry. But once we get past that, Comicsgate is absolutely the future of comics. It's not your industry. It's something else. It's something new. New discipline. People Circus says, how dare you? Tom and Jerry was best Hanna-Barbera. No, People Circus, I completely agree with you. Hanna-Barbera was wonderful in the 1940s. You know, Tom and Jerry. Here's the thing about those cartoons from the 1930s and 40s. You see Tom and Jerry, Bugs Bunny, Yosemite Sam, all these characters, Elmer Fudd, Speedy Gonzales. What were they all about? I mean, people were hungry in the 1930s. The Great Depression was on. There wasn't enough to eat. All of these early cartoons have one common theme to them, and that's the acquisition and competition for food. You know, it's like you look at these, or sex. I mean, in the case of Popeye, it's the competition for sex. You know, Bluto and Popeye versus Olive Oyl herself, who looks terribly malnourished. You know, but Sylvester and Tweety Bird, they're all trying to eat each other. They're all eating. They're all hungry. They're all very hungry and looking for food. That's an actual thing. I mean, people could relate to that. People could relate to trying to get food, chasing down a meal. All of the best, silent clowns of that era as well. Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin, who else am I thinking of? The fat guy and the skinny guy. Damn it. I'm telling you, my brain goes blank sometimes, and it shouldn't, because these things are all pretty dear to me. It's all about food. It's all about food. So also inherent in that is these guys, these creators in these studios back then were working really hard. I mean, they needed to. You would think that, like, being hungry would mean you'd have less energy to do beautiful artwork, but it doesn't mean that. No, not Fatty Arbuckle. He stuck a Coke bottle in a woman, and she died. Why am I laughing at that? Laurel and Hardy. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. You and Doug. Skinny guy versus fat guy. Well, the fat guy was the leader in that situation anyway. That stuff works. When people are hungry like that, when they're not prosperous, at least in America, it seems like they do better work. And then once things, once plenty comes around, once the 1950s, prosperity, the 1960s comes around, it just becomes shit. It just becomes assembly line garbage. Maybe that's another reason why Comicsgate has the potential to produce better and better comics. Because we don't know. It's like, how long is this going to last? We don't know. We're working really, really hard to maintain our own studios. Our own success is on our own shoulders. It's a good reason to own your own IP. Another good reason. So Tom and Jerry was great in the 1940s, the early stuff. Then it became horrible, obviously. Charlie's London says, a comic shop locally shut. They blame Brexit. LOL. I heard about that, Charlie's London. Stupid. Seedfan85 says, can you promote Flying Sparks on Kickstarter? No. Let's see what else. Trev Fishbein says, how do you think the K. Smith continuation of the 80s He-Man cartoon will be? I think it should be good. I like Kevin Smith's writing. I like when he writes superhero stuff. I think he has he honors everything that he approaches when it comes to that. So I'm looking forward to that. I understand he's thinking about making Teela the main character. He may give us an SJW kick in the balls. Let's wait and see. I mean, I'm in for the first episode. Also, I tweeted you Disney Plus versus Netflix. They're not releasing info. Regarding not releasing info. Thoughts? I didn't see that, Trev. I'll look at it. I don't know what you're referring to. I saw that Disney Plus was not going to be releasing entire series all at once. So you're not going to be able to binge The Mandalorian, which I think is sucky, and I think it's going to make Disney Plus an inferior platform to Netflix. Obviously, I don't know why they would do something that's stupid, but I don't know what you're referring to. Scott from Geekstream says it's called being humble and modest, not talking down to the fans. 100%. The one says the comic book industry is Krypton and EBS is Kal-El. They just keep making excuses. It's not just me. Zach is Kal-El too. Your boy Zach. The Side Showman 212 says still waiting on that Cyberfrog team up variant. Should I have gotten it by now? No. Don't worry about it. It's coming. We're fulfilling. We're going to fulfillment stage. People are going to start getting their books next week, by the end of next week, but we're going to go in order. So we're going to get the initial chromiums out first, then the Salamandroid variants, which aren't that many. We'll probably be able to do all the Salamandroid variants in a day, and then we'll do the team up variants. So that's all going to be happening very soon. The Sideshow Man 212. Snarkticon DM says Cecil will babysit. You know, I would trust Cecil to babysit. A liquor, and that is the Face Man. The writer is the guy from CW's Supergirl. Oh, am I back? Am I back? It looks like I was gone for a second. I froze. Hold on. Let me do that again. Yeah, I just got a notification that I went down for a minute. Liam Gray says, I was excited for He-Man. Then I found out that Kevin is the Face Man. The writer is the guy from CW Supergirl. They're going to sink my Masters of the Universe. Kevin, I don't give it a shot. James Ian Anderson says Comicsgate creators should be building companies together. Downshift says just got here. Hope you're having a good day, E. Uncle E. I am. Panda, thanks for $10. Says I was supposed to go to Disney World starting next Monday. I canceled because I thought it was going to be crowded. Instead, God sent a hurricane to wash away that mistake of a park. Love you, Uncle E. I didn't know that. All right, that's craziness. All right, so let's get back to the thing. Those were a lot of super chats. Let's get back to this story here and talk about the silliness here. Now, basically what happened was our friend, and by friend I mean a guy who hates me, another guy everybody hates me in comics. I told Andrew, I'm like, she's like, what is it like? She's like, what is it like to have all these people hate you? I'm like, I don't know. It's pretty surreal. Fortunately, most of them block me, so I don't actually see their hatred. I don't actually get to witness their hatred. But it is weird. All right, so he wants people to spend less time figuring out how to get out of comics and more time trying to figure out how to put more people in comic shops. Initially, people thought this sounded good, but here comes Jamal. Jamal is saying, it's nobody's fault that comics aren't selling. It's nobody's fault. Everything, the system. It's the system. It's the system is stacked up against everybody. Stacked up against Jamal. Kurt Pyrus says, who is Kurt Pyres? All right, how much do you want to make a bet this guy blocked me on Twitter? I don't know who the hell this guy is, and I haven't checked yet. So let's see. It's going to be, chances are he did block me on Twitter. I'm going to find out. First, let me take this thing off. It's hot down here. The system is responsible, guys. Society is to blame. It's not any of our problems. All right, let's see if this guy blocked me on Twitter. No. You got to be kidding me. Well, let's freak him out. No. I'm going to be blocked pretty soon. Are any creators really leaving because they don't love comics? I feel like more often than not, the high turnover and people seeking recognition in other fields has more to do with how hard it is to make a living at this, the way things are set up. I never had trouble making a living in comics, ever. You know, you start out, like I told you guys, you start out kind of small. When I worked at DC on Impulse, I was making a very small page rate. But it grew, and within 4 years, how long did it take me to, 2004 was my first six-figure year. And then ever after, I've never had a year that was not six figures in comics since then. So 2004 was when Flash or Green Lantern Rebirth started, I think. But yeah, it happened pretty quick. So between the years 1998 and 2004, a little bit of a struggle climbing the hill, and then finally comfortably in six figures within 6 years. It depends on how long you put into it, I guess. Am I having trouble again on OBS? Let me see here. Am I here? Am I here? Yeah. Okay, good. Matthew Rosenberg says, I agree. My point is that I think many are looking to leave and be done with it because they were looking to create books and that's it. But that's not really viable. People need to be doing more than just dropping books on shelves. This is 100% true. Look, these people are just shitting out comics that nobody wants. I mean, just garbage. These people are all talking to each other on Twitter, and most of them are producing comics that nobody wants. Isn't there something, I mean, honestly, somebody like Matthew Rosenberg, I'm going to double check this. Hasn't blocked me yet. Let's freak him out too. Somebody like Matthew Rosenberg. Isn't there something that you would rather be doing, than X-Men? And I ask this in all sincerity. It's like, if your idea is that, people need to be accountable, people need to take accountability for their own comics, their own work. That's not what the Big Two is about. I mean, the Big Two is lethargic and stubborn, and they don't put the effort into promoting any of the books that are not going to break 100,000. They'll mention them, but they don't really put a lot of weight behind them. And besides that, the means for promoting comics these days has evaporated. Why? Because idiots killed it. Wizard Magazine was the key to all of this. I tell you, we're going to look back and say, what happened? Well, what happened was Wizard Magazine. Wizard Magazine was the apostle of the comic book industry. It was a missionary for the comic book industry. It spread the word. It would have made somebody like Matthew Rosenberg a star instead of a zero, which is what he is. It would have made him a star. Wizard Magazine let people know in shiny, glossy color paper, color print. It wrote funny, childish, kind of immature articles that just were brimming with enthusiasm about the new comics that were coming out and the creators that were making them. They would send photographers over to your house to take rock star shots of you, like rock star photographs of you, and then they'd publish them full page. Here's Joe Quesada and Jimmy Palmiotti, and look at them. They look like They don't look like Slipknot. They look like Linkin Park. Nah, I'm a little too old for that. They look like Fred Durst and who would Jimmy look like? I don't know. They look like that. They look like what the hell was that band called? Fred Durst band. Limp Bizkit. They look like Limp Bizkit. Looks like a skateboarding ad. And then you put that next to an article like, yeah, Jimmy and Joe are cooking up some incredible stuff in their studio right now, working on a book called Ash. Why is this? Well, because Ash is about firefighters, and we respect fucking firefighters, man. They put their lives on the line. They're real-life superheroes. Joe's drawing crazy stuff with, Ash dressed like a superhero fireman, and there's fire all around. There's lots of fire everywhere. More photographs of Jimmy and Joe looking prosperous, working in a pretty studio with good lighting. God, I mean, that just... And then they go, okay, well, there are a couple of ads for conventions. MegaCon, 1997. Joe and Jimmy will be there. Joe and Jimmy will be appearing at MegaCon in 1997. And they'd have lines of people. They'd have lines of people. They'd have people lined up like you wouldn't believe. In the 90s, it was crazy. I remember Billy Tucci riding in like Evel Knievel. He had 8 motorcycles lined up. They opened up the bay door, the back of the convention. Ladies and gentlemen, Crusade Comics, Billy Tucci. Billy Tucci comes in on a motorcycle doing a wheelie. Custom painted. Looks like she's all over it. Parks it next to his other 8 motorcycles. He has a line of people. There's a turnstile to meet him. Lines of people. Don Tucci. Guys, great times. Dude, it was just great times. And Wizard Magazine made all that happen. Why was Billy Tucci a star? Because of Wizard Magazine. What happened to Wizard Magazine? These idiots tore it down. I gotta say, sometimes I feel like the same thing kind of happens to me. You know, it's like Wizard Magazine is the opportunity. It's an opportunity for a lot of people to be successful. You know, this channel is the opportunity for a lot of people to be successful. A lot of people within Comicsgate can come on this channel, promote their comics if they're good. I can make them, I can let you know about them. I can let you know about them. You know. And yet there's conflict. Why? Same reasons Wizard Magazine had. Same problems Wizard Magazine had. Wizard Magazine had a problem because people were envious and jealous and wanted more limelight on them. And so, therefore, there were all kinds of problems. And I sense a little bit of that happening here with Comicsgate. It's too bad. It's too bad. I like promoting other people. All right, so two people that we followed here. Kurt Pyers. Now we know who he is. We like Kurt Pyers. He didn't block me. Kurt Pyers didn't block me. So therefore, he's pretty cool. All right. There's definitely people who want the clout and upward mobility. Yeah, I feel more often than not, though it's just way too much of a struggle for most to make a decent living doing comics. That's true. Not everyone can do it. There are levels. Even within Comicsgate, you know, we have big successes and we have little successes. All in all, I want to make sure that everybody meets their, you know, expectations. I want to make sure that, not their expectations, but meets their goal. I want everybody to get funded. You know, some people are going to make $211,000 on a comic, like your boy Zach, and other people are going to make $9,000, but they were looking for $5,000. You know, it's just a matter of time before, you know, and effort and work before that guy builds himself up to the point where he can make $211,000 on a single issue of a comic book because people know who he is, care about him, want to follow him, want to support him. Not everybody can do it. It's not equal, you know. You want to make the playing field equal, but the results are going to be staggered, and that's something that hopefully people, I encourage people in Comicsgate to just kind of, you know, keep your eyes on your own page, but be supportive of everyone, you know. Comicsgate's so much better than this industry. It really is. I look at these dummies arguing. We're so much better than them. We really are. There's some egos that get out of control. That's all right. We'll hammer those nails right back down again. But for the most part, we got a way better idea, way better plan for the future than these people do. Look at them. Here's Evan Dorkin. Evan Dorkin, I'll bet you anything he has me blocked. This guy's plugged into the comic book industry. I haven't paid attention to Evan Dorkin since 1994 when he was doing Milk and Cheese. You know, he used to look like the lead singer of the B-52s. He would show up at conventions dressed in silver lame. You know, let me find out. We'll find out if he blocked me. Yes. We got to play this game where we find out if people block me or not. Terry Moore. Did Terry Moore block me? Of course not. Of course not. All right, we'll follow Terry Moore. What a great guy. Yeah. All right, let's get back to this. Creator tweets that he wishes other creators spend more time thinking of ways to get people into comic shops than getting out of comics. If I can't get the majority of shops to carry my work after 33 years and 11 eyes... 11 Eisners. That should equal cold hard cash. What the fuck? Oh. Well, that puts a value on the Eisner Award for you right there. That's what you get. I'm supposed to somehow solve the industry's PR retail issues? No, you're just supposed to promote your own books. That's all you're supposed to do. I've been in the business for 33 years. I've gotten 11 Eisners. That means every 3 years you get an Eisner. That's a good ratio. You know, that is a good ratio. 11 Eisners. You can't. Nobody's style. The majority of shops don't carry his books. Wonderful. Well, do more milk and cheese. Honestly, milk and cheese is a guaranteed seller, I think. Dairy products gone bad. That was a good series. I dug that. Can I like this even though I'm blocked? Like. Cannot attempt this action. I'm not allowed to like this tweet. You have been blocked from liking this user's tweets at their request. All right, fine. Can I fucking hate it? Can I hate this tweet? No, I hate this tweet. Evan Dorkin continues. I worked in retail for 6 years. Am friends with shop owners. Have been shown love and support by shops. You just said they didn't carry your books. Despite my criticism, they do. By the way, SJWs do this slash thing. Stop it with the forward slash. Love forward slash support. Generally forward slash genuinely. How about just and? Despite my criticism, I generally and genuinely love comic shops. Why does it have to be this forward slash? God. Oh, I'm not going to curse. I told you guys I wasn't going to curse. Trying not to. Margaret Merkel says, "Be one with your hate, Ethan." No, I don't want to. I'm a figure of love. You know, I'm a figure of whimsy, love, and joy. I can't give in to hatred. This is hate. Like what this guy's doing is hate. My job is making comics. I can only do so much for comics beyond that. This isn't a town play everyone gets together on. Why not? Comicsgate is. Comicsgate's a town play. I'm Mickey Rooney. They're all Judy Garland. Together, Cecil is Judy Garland. I'm Mickey Rooney. We're like, let's put on a show. Let's take it to Broadway. Everyone. It works. My job is to just make shit. It's not my job to make that shit sell. That's someone else's job. Whose job is it? It's someone else's job to make my shit sell. It's someone else's job to tell people what I'm up to. I can't do it all myself. There's only so much I can do. He says, your situation isn't everyone else's. Consider that when making sweeping statements about how to support the hostility over this. All the dude said was, I wish people would stop trying to leave comics. I disagree. This guy's angry about it. I wouldn't tell anyone what inking tool or script format to use, let alone how they should be putting comic shops ahead of their own personal choices. Gee fucking whiz. See how awful these people are? They are the worst people on the face of the earth. When Zach talks about comic book professionals being the worst people ever created, he's not kidding. They really are. What a horrible, what is this temper tantrum? What is this tirade about? This tirade from this Zero who blocked me. This guy, another guy, blocks me. I don't even talk to him. I actually like milk and cheese. I think it's kind of influential on Cyberfrog, like early Cyberfrog stuff. But yeah, look at him. Your situation isn't everyone else. He's like, I just wish people would want to stay and do comics. Your situation isn't everyone else's. Consider that when making sweeping statements about how to sell more comics. I wouldn't tell anyone what to. Hey, I'm doing nothing and it's not working at all. So how dare you make sweeping statements and tell me how to sell more comics? Your situation isn't mine. I've tried nothing, and I'm all out of ideas. What a douchebag. Fuck you, Evan Dorkin. Meanwhile, Rosenberg responded to accusations that he was Maddie from, no longer Maddie from the block. Okay, we're being cute here. This guy, Jarrett. Let's check this real quick. He's from Portland, Oregon. He hasn't blocked me. Guess what? I'm following you now. Private eyes are watching Jarrett, watching his every move. We're going to see them tomorrow, guys. We're going to see Hall & Oates together. Me and Andrea heading out to see Hall & Oates. Private eyes are watching you. Private eyes are watching Matt Rosenberg. Private eyes. It's going to be a good time. I'm going to live stream a couple of songs from that show. You know, as usual, Annie, Andrea, and I will kind of, we let you in. We hang out with you a little bit. We'll do a little bit of a live stream before the show. Andrea is going to let me gamble a little bit. A little bit of gambling. Private eyes are stalking you. Private. No? Hollow Notes is going to be great. We're going to have a good time. And we're going to definitely live stream from there tomorrow night. So make sure you guys are, paying attention to your notifications. You don't want to miss Hollow Notes. And we got front row seats, as usual. We got second row seats to that last show, Frankie Valli. And Andrew's like, why are we in the second row? I'm like, I know, dude. It's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. It's like, I took you to a crappy restaurant or something. It's like, no, we should be in the front row. Only the best. Only the best for Andrea. Front row center for Hall & Oates. So, I don't know. I'm going to get a fist bump from Oates. I need a fist bump from Oates. I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna hope, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna hope he does this to me. And if I can get that on video, I think we'll all enjoy that together. Me and Oates. I don't care about Hall. I'm an Oates man. Jarrett says the focus should be on how media is consumed today and how to align your product into those channels. Not concentrating on how to get people consuming media the same way they did 30 years ago. I gotta agree, Jarrett. I agree with you. You, working on established titles, don't have the same problem as smaller artists. Yes, he does. His problem is that Marvel doesn't give a shit about promoting their own comics anymore. What they care about is they care about promoting t-shirts and oven mitts. They're a lifestyle brand. They're not really promoting the comic books anymore. And when they do, it's ridiculous. God forbid that Marvel should actually promote their own work after we saw that, Social Justice and the J-Team comic book advertised by that weirdo. That was the worst thing I've ever seen. The world isn't fair. The world isn't right. Maybe not. Maybe we don't want Marvel to promote their own books. Maybe they've lost their touch. But this guy's absolutely right. Like, so far, this guy's the only person who makes any sense. It's like the comic book industry, and God bless these small businesses. God bless the comic book shops. But the comic book shops have two big, heavy anchors that they're dragging around. The direct market, first of all, the companies and their shitty variant cover schemes and their social justice and their unreadable product, their audience-less comics. And then also, they've got Diamond. They've got that they cannot return any comics. There's no returnability in the comic book industry. It's all stacked against them. It is the direct market is going to collapse. So what do? We want to save the direct market? I don't think we can. I don't think that's possible. I think now we need to do what I said at the beginning of this stream, which is to look at other avenues, how to get comic books in the hands of readers, and that's something that you can do as a smaller artist, Jarrett. One assumes you're a small artist. I don't know. You have the advantage. You're able to do that by yourself. Much better than somebody who is actually representing Marvel Comics does. Matt Rosenberg says, yes, I don't have the same problem as smaller creators now. I probably did when I self-published or worked at a tiny indie publisher for 5 years, though. You're going to go back to that. All right, David Zissau. David Zissau. I feel like this guy blocked me. Something went wrong. Try again. I will. Something went wrong. Try again. I will. Something went wrong. All right. Look, that's the definition of insanity. Strongly disagree. All right. So this guy says comic creators aren't paid to do the marketing. Oh my God. This is where the thumbnail I made comes from. Yeah. They aren't paid to do the marketing. When you force them to make the market, they're less likely to have the energy and mental health to create. I sound like Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. That's Jeremy's soy boy voice, not mine. They're less likely to have the energy and mental health to create work that rationalizes the visit to the comic store. Put this shit on the publishers to do their job. Matt Rosenberg takes this soy boy and slaps the balls off of him. Strongly disagree. This isn't a big enough or healthy enough industry to absolve anyone of doing the work needed to support all parts of it. It's an ecosystem, and everyone should be contributing however they feel they can. Wow. Dude, he slapped those balls off of him so hard, they bounced off the wall. Why don't people play wall ball anymore at school? We used to play wall ball. You know, we play wall ball, and basically somebody would bring in a pinky ball, you know, in the playground, big wall, and we'd bounce the ball off the wall. You had to catch it with one try. Like if you boggled it, if you dropped it, we called it boggled it in Jersey. You had to go up to the wall and dig this. Your punishment was you got quote unquote pegged, and that doesn't mean what it means now. You know, you had to go up to the wall with your back turned and lean out, you know, so your rear end was sticking out. And then everyone else who was playing got to throw the ball as hard as they could at you. Pinky ball, you know. It was called, they peg you. And, you know, you try to bruise the kid. You know, you really try to hurt the kid. They don't do that anymore. I don't see other people doing that. It was just our generation. Wall ball. It was called wall ball. I never. Yeah, asses up, butts up. We called it butts up too sometimes. Yeah. It's called wall ball. You call it asses up. That's fine. In Jersey, it was wall ball. At least in my little experience within South Jersey. All right, let's keep going here. Only focusing on the aspect of the job that you want is nice, but it's not a luxury comics often provides. Promote comic shops, promote comics press, promote your fellow creators. Why? Support every part of the comics ecosystem and they will support you. You're all drowning together. You're all drowning together. Hell, if we all hold on to each other, maybe we'll float. You will not float. You will sink. Sharks will come and bite your penises off. I promise you. I've seen it. I've seen documentaries about it. Guys floating in the water after their boat sinks, and I'm thinking about the Titanic. You're floating in the water. Let's just imagine that the water itself doesn't cause hypothermia to immediately set in and turn you blue and sink to the bottom of the ocean like Leonardo DiCaprio. Let's just assume that doesn't happen. You're still floating around in the ocean together. You can hold on to each other. That's what maybe you should do so you don't drift apart. That's fine. I don't want you to drift apart. But sharks will come and they will bite your penis off. All of them. All of those of you who still have penises. Sharks are going to bite them off. And they might take your legs too. And then it's going to be a really weird thing that's going to happen to you. Hold on a second. Where's my rose tea go? Like, this is the worst thing in a shark movie. Like, where you only see this much of everybody because they're floating. Like, you only see this much of them. This is my Rose Tico Christmas decoration. You're floating, right? And you're all holding hands. And then one person floats this way too much. They float this way. And you're like, how could that happen? Oh, because their lower half is missing. A shark took it. They're dead. And they're just, the top of their body is just bobbing around in a weird and creepy way. That's the worst thing that could happen to you. But it does happen. And that's what you're describing here. You're describing that everybody just hold hands, promote each other. The industry's dying. It's not going to help. And then he says, actors who work smaller theater productions, set up chairs and take tickets. Bands and small clubs help set up and take down each other's gear. Work the door, sell tickets. Directors on low-budget films carry gear, help strike sets. Why should comics be different? Why? Because everybody's not in it together. That's why. That's why. The comic book industry is full of people who hate each other and are afraid of each other. You know. And you know, are jealous of each other's success. Don't want each other to succeed. That's why. Hey, you could do that with your crew. You know, Matthew Rosenberg Comics, Ashcan Press, whatever. You can get your boys to do that. Matt, your punk is showing. He's like, I know. Punk rock. He said, tweeted an opinion about the comics industry and only one person tweeted, wishing me physical harm. Twitter, you are slipping. I know, I can make it 2. I mean, for goodness sake. All right. The hell, dude. Why? Anyway, Zach really liked that article. He really dug it. All right, let me read some more super chats, and then we're gonna go on to the next thing. Wow, this is great. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for the super chats. Michael Beacon says, "Hail Caesar! My book 7 Legions is coming to Indiegogo tomorrow. We made the samurai poster from mail-in stream on Monday. Oh, that's nice. Congratulations." James Dean Anderson says, "It's not the system, Jamal. Polito does just fine." That's exactly right. Well, that's what Zach brings up. Everybody brings up, Brian Polito. For longevity, I mean, Polito's results are not as spectacular as some comic skaters, but they're consistent. Every single time he keeps doing the same thing and he keeps getting similar results. We've already shown that our second round of fundraising has done the same thing. I mean, everybody is doing a little bit better this time, except for me. I haven't done my second campaign yet, and I'm sure I'm going to fail miserably. But I'm still going to try, and I'm still going to promote it. I'm still going to do the best that I can. Jake Foley says, "I was just going to say, you make people into rock stars and often receive the same jealousy that killed Wizard. Isn't that weird? Isn't that funny?" That is true. I don't understand that, but I've learned a lot about human nature in the past couple of years. Things that I didn't understand about people. Now I'm starting to understand, and it's creepy. Sweetcast says, "Comic Artist Pro Secrets is the new Wizard." No, we all are. We're definitely all the new Wizard. Zirank says, what would you do? Wait, WDYD, if you have characters but are story stumped. What do you do if you have characters but are story stumped? Wow. Well, you know what? Stories don't often come because you force them, stories often happen because you dream them, or they just occur to you a little bit at a time. Don't force anything. Don't rush it. You've got characters. Think about it. Let it happen. Try not to copy anything. James Dean Anderson says, "I challenge any serious indie creators at a pro level, hashtag or otherwise, to park the ego and start a real company with me. Let's do something real." You want to do something real? Yeah, James, listen, I'll talk to you about that. Fuck Google 2 says, Comicsgate evolves again. Comicsgate is planning 2D and 3D campaigns. Snarkticon DM says, "I have 11 Eisners, and you know where to put them." Do you know where to put them? Smiling Bandito says, "I made a tweet about Crash Wong and got a chain of industry people blocking me, including her, Fowler, and King. That is a victory." Yeah. Oh, God, Tess Fowler is the fucking worst, dude. She is the absolute worst. And she's deep into this. I mean, you want to talk about, like, the Whisper campaign and the weirdo SJW conspiracy? Dude, she is all over that. That's like 90% of her workday is structuring and organizing gay ops for SJWs. She is absolutely the worst human being and despised. I mean, roundly despised by the comic book industry. People hate Tess Fowler. I thought people hated Rob Liefeld. They don't hate Rob Liefeld. They never did hate Rob Liefeld as much as they hate Tess Fowler. Jake Foley says, "Please keep cursing. Your self-censoring offends me." Sometimes it happens, and sometimes I don't like saying the GD word because I think that we got a lot of Christians here, and I don't like it when I say it. When I say it, I'm like, why did I say that? But the F word, sometimes it just happens. Raging Golden Eagle says, "These pros have the time to fight with fans on Twitter all day, but not to promote themselves. I find that hard to believe." Nick Booty Rack says, "EVS, the Vampy cover should have honey all over her, not blood." Ooh. Individualist says, "Uncle E, curse the Mormon way. Say, oh my heck. P.S. Have family from Utah, and this is what they say." Yeah, I know. Yeah. If you want to see how Mormons behave, just watch Napoleon Dynamite. That movie is about Mormons, and Napoleon Dynamite is Mormon. The actor is Mormon. So all that stuff that he says when he's like, "dag." It's like I remember saying "dag" too when I lived in Utah. It's weird. "Dag," GADAG. Instead of "darn it" or "damn," "dag." And "decroded" too. All these words. Decroded. It's all Mormon. Mr. Malange says, "That was a curse. Put $1 in the swear jar." All right. Well, Hugo just gave me one. Thank you, Hugo. Automata says the Bird and the Bee has a fun album of Hall & Oates covers called Interpreting the Masters Volume 1. Also, adult education is underrated. So you're probably gonna look forward to the show tomorrow. Theodosius says it was wall ball in Northern Virginia too, but we called the punishment the firing squad. Wow, that's awesome. Liam Gray says catalog model, all comics available via subscription, payment plans, and built as matching collector sets. QVC model. That's kind of how I see it, QVC almost. You make something, you put it up for a limited amount of time, and sell it that way. You pitch it. You have to sell it. You have to become a salesman, I'm sorry. I know these people don't want to have to do anything. These people do not want to have to do anything. They don't want to get their hands dirty, and they think it's beneath them. The ego on Comic Book Pros, you guys have no idea. You guys think I'm bad. You guys think I'm like egotistical, and I know some of you do. There is no way. I am a man of humility, a man of deep humility compared to these people, compared to some of these people, not all of them. Egos. I don't want to have to promote my own comics. I don't want to have to I don't want to have to sell what I do. Adrian Stone says, regarding swearing, what happened to dropping the vowels? Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I could get that back. Just like, what the Yeah. Well, you know what I'm worried about right now? I'm worried about breathing too hard in the microphone. You know what I'm worried about right now? I'm worried about Bitcoin. I've been following this. I haven't updated it in a while. It's time to update Bitcoin and see where we're at. There's a lot of money on the line here. I watched this yesterday go from $10,460 to down into the 9,000s, and it just continues to drop. How can you not be worried about that? You got to be worried about that. Let's see. Let's update this and see where we're at. Did it rise or fall? It rose a little bit. Just $2. Yeah. Yeah, it's under 10,000. I don't like way under. I don't know when it's going to come back again. Look at this guy. These people are very upset about this. I don't know. All right, so Bleeding Fool has an article today. I don't know if you saw it. The Mary Sue had this ridiculous article. I can't remember what it was called. But it was meant to sort of bait Comicsgate and bait Weeb Wars. The nerdy SJWs, and you know which ones. From Twitter, Renfamous, Tim Doyle, Mars Girl, these weirdos. They all decided to basically just try to bait Comicsgaters. And a lot of people, they basically said that the alt-right has invaded the mainstream of blah, blah, blah. They took our arguments and they took out SJW and replaced it with alt-right. And then they're accusing us of being alt-right, accusing us of being doxers and harassers, all the things that they do. And they think they're being funny and they think they're being cute. A lot of people have asked me to respond to this. I have no response. Alt-right, calling somebody alt-right in 2019 is pretty stupid. What does alt-right mean to me? It means there's some kind of white nationalism associated with that. That's what I think it means. There's some kind of white nationalist preference to being alt-right. That's not me. Not at all. I don't hold those views. I find those views to be pretty despicable. So, having said that, people are like, don't you want to respond to this? Aren't you outraged? Aren't you angry? And in fact, the SJWs on Twitter who actually are responsible for this article are tittering like, oh, they must be so mad right now. We don't get mad at lies, we might get indignant about them. But no, I don't feel the need to answer for other people's lies. People are lying about me. I don't really have an answer for that. except to say, stop lying. But I don't really have an answer. And no, it's not. It's not a source of outrage. A source of outrage is to tell the truth about people. Oh wow, Wonder Girl 60s. Thank you for $100. She just blew me a kiss. Said I blew on this for luck. Put this on red at the roulette table. Wow, I will. Yeah, I'm gonna do a little gambling tomorrow. Thank you for that. That's that's really nice of you. I appreciate that. Wow, $100 super chat tonight, guys. The reason why these articles get written and the reason why these SJWs hate us so much is because we tell the truth about them. The more they lie about us, the more the truth we tell about them. And let's just see how things stack up. Comicsgate was supposed to be destroyed so many times. How many times have you heard people say Comicsgate is dead, Comicsgate's over, Comicsgate's been destroyed? How many times have you seen it? We're still here, and we're not going anywhere. The ridiculous behavior of these SJWs, quite aside. We are going to be here, and we're going to do what we continue to do, which is to sell comics. And ultimately, we are, all I do on this channel is tell the truth about SJWs. All I do is explain them and make it clear. All they do in response is lie about us, lie about me, lie about Zach, lie about that umbrella guy. I'm continue telling lies, guys. That's what the Nazis did. The Nazis basically propagandized. Their whole strategy was to accuse other people of doing exactly what they were doing. That's how they got people in line. Are you guys Nazis? Is that what you want to do? You want to just accuse other people of the strategies that you yourselves employ? I don't want to do that. I just want to make comics. I just want to make YouTube videos, and I just want to make comics. That's all I want to do. In case anyone saw this who's in this audience, do Ethan Van Sciver or Richard C. Meyer believe the white race is superior to all others? No. I'm going to speak for your boy Zach, and I'm just going to say no. We don't feel that way. Not at all. I have absolutely no white supremacy bullshit in my heart at all. Not one bit. Doesn't occur to me. And when I hear it, and I have heard it a lot recently, I've listened to some people talk about it. I find it abhorrent. I find it repellent. That is the truth. That's where I stand. Because that is the truth, this doesn't matter. And none of this matters. This is just going to blow away, and we're just going to keep on moving to the real truth, which is this. Ethan Van Sciver, the king, the future king of all media, everyone. The future king of all media. This is the worst. What is this picture, anyway? What is this? Dude who wrote this article, thank you for the article, but what is this picture of me? I look like I'm about to cry, and I don't understand what's happening here. Why do my lips look like a purple rubber band? What is this? God, this is awful. The worst picture I've ever seen. You couldn't get a picture of me just smiling? Like this? You couldn't do that? It's got to be this? I don't understand. For God's sake. All right, let's read this. He says, okay, I'm being tongue-in-cheek with that title, but Van Sciver seems to have the same oddball sense of humor that I do, so I figured why not? Ethan Van Sciver's live streams about pop culture are as addictive as they are entertaining. Wow, thank you. I like complimenting myself. I'm going to read this and compliment myself. But these are not in my words. These are somebody else's words about me. He says, like so many others, I found myself binge listening to as many as I could per week for several weeks, and now I'm among the many waiting with anticipation for the next day's installment. I don't even think like that. Like I do my live streams because I feel like I need to keep doing my live streams. I do enjoy them. I have a great time. But the idea that there's anybody out there who's waiting, who's anticipating the next one, blows my mind. I'm grateful for that. Thank you. He says, Van Sciver has spent nearly 3 decades in the comic book industry as an artist and writer. Most of his time was spent at DC with legendary runs on Green Lantern and Flash, but in recent years, Uncle Ethan, as he's called, I don't know how that started. I think somebody stole H3H3's thing and brought it over to me, I think. As he's called, has become one of the leaders of the indie comic book outlaws. Whoa, I like that. That is exactly right. That's exactly right. Indie comic book outlaws. That is what Comicsgate is. Going their own way to create works free of the toxic influence of the big two publishers. As entertaining and instructive as Ethan can be in his videos about the art of illustrated storytelling, his talent as a raconteur and cultural commentator has brought him additional fans outside of the comic book world. The man's made-for-radio voice. See, normally people say made-for-radio face. So I appreciate the made-for-radio voice observation. That's comforting. And Rye's sense of humor. See, that's a face made for radio right there. It really is. And Rye's sense of humor combined with his charm to virtually hypnotize his audience. Are you guys hypnotized? If you are, will you cluck like chickens? Will you cluck like chickens? Hypnotism's weird. I don't know if I believe it or not. I kind of believe it. Regular readers of Balladier's blog know how rare it is that I throw this kind of praise around, but this figure has earned it. Partly through his kindness to others. I am kind to others. Van Sciver's willingness to serve as a mentor for up-and-coming creators is part of his and his show's appeal. Watch Ethan to catch the best comic book talent of the present and the future, and in genres far beyond just superheroics. Van Sciver holds forth. Yeah, I'm here to help people. I'm here to help people and mentor them to be able to succeed. I do the best I can. I know I don't get everybody. I can't help everybody. I help as many people as I can. And I hope the other people don't take it personally. Some do, though. Some do take it personally when I don't help them, when they are overlooked. Boy, do they ever. I don't care. I carry on. Van Sciver holds forth with tongue firmly in cheek as he introduces himself as a human sunbeam. And other more embarrassing titles. He has definitely warmed up to his role as an entertainer, and in my opinion, his show's success will be limited only by how much time he wants to devote to it, given all the other irons he has on the fire. Only a couple hours a day, that's all. I hope that leads to more success. Join the fun of Uncle Ethan for tilting at the ugly corporate empire of Disney and for assorted pie-related theoretical physics here, and there's a link to my channel. Oh, well, thank you so much. Yeah, this made me happy. I mean, wow, a super overpraising little article here. I definitely appreciated that. I thought that was really, really nice. That's just, this photograph just kills me, though. Like, this photograph kind of ruins it. If you're listening, can you change this photograph? Can you give me a happy, smiley photograph where I don't look like I don't know how to explain that. It looks weird. Why am I purple? I don't know. I worry about you guys. Like, when I see myself on the screen, I look normal. But, of course, it's coming through differently for you guys, isn't it? You guys are seeing me differently. And that's the way it is. All right. One last thing today. Look at my Elmo back there, hugging Jabba the Hutt. That's my new addition. Spectrum Ball says, oh God, it sounds like you wrote this. Does it? Yeah. Imagine if I started writing articles like that about me. Get my own blog. Use it to praise myself. That's not something I wouldn't do. That's not something I would not resort to. I definitely would do that. I didn't do it this time, but I would do it. I'd think about it. Yeah, don't change it. Don't change that picture. No, please change that picture. It's the worst picture of me I've ever seen in my life, and I've taken terrible pictures. That is the worst. Why? Like, that's... Yeah, even the praise is trolly. That's 100% correct. Why do that to me? I would show that article to my mom, except look at that picture. TSA bans Star Wars Galaxy's Edge merchandise. These people. Oh, here I am again. I'm everywhere. And there's an article about me. By the way, a lot of people telling me Tim Pool read this article, and he said my name, and everybody was like, Tim Pool shouted you out. Well, he read an article that I was being quoted in, but I definitely appreciate that. Tim Pool's coming to town this Saturday. I might go meet him. He does live in my town, but I mean, he's making himself available. I might go meet him, shake his hand. Why would they do this? They made they made soda bottles that look like explosives at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Why would you guys? How dumb is Disney? More bad news for Disney, as it is learned that the Federal Transportation Security Administration has banned certain merchandise that is available exclusively at the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge theme park from being carried onto flights. Responding to questions on Twitter, the TSA stated the Coca-Cola exclusive thermal detonator themed bottles that look like grenades. They look like grenades. What the fuck? For Star Wars Galaxy's Edge were against policy. Thanks for asking. Replica and inert explosives aren't allowed in either carry-on or check bags. That is weird. I went to Germany and I bought guns. I bought fake guns like flintlock pistols, replicas. And I put them in my luggage, and sure enough, we got dragged away. And we were questioned about them. I said, we bought them in your country. This excuse should have worked. We bought them in your country. We went to see this, this site, and they were selling them there, and we wanted to bring them home. And I think they did let us bring them home. But yeah, it was a thing. So apparently I couldn't do that anymore. You can't bring replicas of weapons. Not even if you pack them in your luggage. I understand I couldn't bring a flintlock pistol replica in my carry-on baggage, but I couldn't just pack it and then no? Well, maybe like a flintlock pistol, but maybe not a grenade. God. Okay. Another person questioned further if it was okay to put it in luggage with the regular cap and empty. But again, TSA said that would be against the rules. Yeah, because, terrorists are going to go, oh, well, we're going to make, explosives that look like Star Wars Galaxy's Edge soda containers, and we're going to blow up airplanes with them. And you know what? It's going to be Pablo Hidalgo's fault. Pablo Hidalgo will be responsible for this, and Roundhead Ryan Johnson. They would be responsible for the airliner that came down because terrorists learned, that you could just make Disney product. You could make explosives that look like Disney product and nobody would check. Thank God the Federal Transportation Security Administration is on the ball. They're not going to put up with... Pablo, they're not going to put up with your shit. They didn't fall for it, okay? They didn't fall for it, Pablo. They caught him. They said no. They made a rule against your little scheme. And that means you too, Ryan Johnson. Fuck. Alright, so even with the normal bottle cap, this item is still considered a replica and is not allowed in carry-on or checked bags. If our officers discover this replica item during screening and believe it's real, the item will be treated as such until advised otherwise by law enforcement. Okay, so in other words, if Pablo Hidalgo's designed grenade Coca-Cola bottle gets found in your suitcase, they are going to assume it's a live grenade, and they will treat you as such. They will denude you in public, and they will be checking your orifices, including your anus. There will be 2 fingers in a gloved hand to pop up your anus to make sure there's no lightsaber up there, There could be. They want to double check and make sure everything's kosher. By the way, this was all the job. This was all the responsibility, all the doing. I'm sure of Pablo Hidalgo. I blame him. Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Coke bottles are against TSA policy, Pablo. The banning of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge merchandise on flights comes when it is also learned that attendance is down, with rumors offering that Disney may rebrand the exhibit, as both Disney and people that have visited the park have confirmed it's basically dead. Oh my God. The news is also another blow to Disney merchandise, which has been on a steady decline following the release of Star Wars The Last Jedi. We can probably assume that those visitors from outside the state of California who fly will no longer purchase the collectible Coke bottles, or at the least they will have to send them back home through the mail. Well, I would like to let the postal clerk know that, these explosives that were designed by Disney Lucasfilm might be traveling through the mail now. I think that should be illegal too. Honestly, this should be illegal all around. Don't bring them on planes. Don't send them through the mail. Seems reasonable to me. Yeah. M. Zhang, who has a My Little Pony avatar, says, saw that the Star Wars Coke... Did this person block me? Let me check that real quick. No. All right. Now you have 6 followers. This is probably a child. Oh, it's a deaf person who loves My Little Pony. All right, well, changed my mind. Unfollowing you. I hate My Little Pony. All right, so let's see. Not a lot in luggage, but do they come with regular soda bottle cap and the decorative lid? Is it still off limits if I put it in my luggage with a regular cap and empty? Please kindly advise. Thank you. Even with the normal bottle cap, this item is still considered a replica and is not allowed on carry-on or checked bags. If our officers discover a replica item during the screening and believe it's real, the item will be treated as such until advised otherwise by law enforcement. That means off come your pants and your underpants, snap on the prophylactic, 2 fingers up the butt to check for a lightsaber. You have been warned. You've been warned. All right. Okay. Simple as that. Now, let me read some more super chats here. Yeah. James Dean Anderson says, sales works. Respect the Polito and Tucci hustle. I do. I respect their hustle. And Wonder Girl 60s, thanks again for that huge super chat, and I will gamble it. Mr. CPU says, no, don't change it. Don't change that picture. Vince Garrett says, heard a rumor Comicsgate's coming out sometime between September and the end of the world as we know it. Hopefully it'll be closer to September. You mean Cyberfrog? Not Comicsgate. Yeah, it's coming out. We're fulfilling it now. Craft75 is a new member. Thank you so much for joining. Unhinged Crank says, sorry I'm late. What did I miss? Everything. Unhinged Crank says, Pablo's schemes and scams. These schemes and scams have to stop. They're ridiculous. Schemes and scams. Yeah. Gots the Iron Hand points out that we have 666 likes right now. Hell yeah. That is awesome. Let's keep that going. And let me see. Where are you guys? How come I can't see you? I can't see you the way I want to. Holy God, that went fast. Yeah. Let's see who's in here. People Circus is still in here. People Circus is so great. I appreciate his being here almost every single time. Daytona Fall says, I like Coffin Comics. Hell Witch was awesome. And Valhalla Productions says, yo, EVS, you and Billy Tucci need to collaborate on something. Yeah, Billy Tucci's coming over. I think he's coming down pretty soon. So come over here, let us cook for you. Yeah. I would talk to him about that. I'm gonna promote his she-book though. I'll tell you that. I'll definitely promote his she-book. Never Cold says, am I chopped liver EVS? Not at all, dude. You are liver and onions. Delicious. I don't like liver at all, but you are a chicken fried steak. I'm happy to have you here, Never Cold. Thank you so much for always being here. You are the best. You're the best around. Remember, Ethan, boobs and butts sell new IPs, says Edgar Tarley. I'm in real trouble. I gotta actually create a female character then. Alpha Azeru says, EVS, you cook? No, Andrea does. She's a great cook. She's a fantastic cook. All right, so I guess this is good. Was that all right? How long did I go? 2 hours and 11 minutes. Wonderfully charming. Jack Straw, thanks for $5. He says, some gambling money for you. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for gambling money. I wish I could actually live stream me playing blackjack. They don't let you do that at the table. You can't actually film yourself playing cards. I really want to. I want to be able to look back on it and, kind of a Monday morning quarterback myself. Yeah. Do I grill? Yeah. Grand Inquisitor says, I'm always here for you, Uncle E. Help us, Uncle E. You're our only hope. Ninoluz brings up the mac and cheese video. Andrea totally panicked about that. She knew she was supposed to do it, but she did panic about it. Yeah. Nevercole recommends I learn to count cards. Unhinged Crank, Rainbow the Brute and She book. He, she. That's pretty cool. That'd be a good crossover. Just call it He, she. Modalicious says corporate comics fail to adapt and are dying like pogs. Yeah. I know. And they're still arrogant. They're arrogant about it. Humble yourselves. For goodness sakes. All right. Well, I love you guys. I'm going to go. I think I'll probably go to sleep. I stayed up pretty good here. It's 7:12. I gotta change my sleeping schedule so that, I am able to stay up tomorrow for the concert. I've been like going to bed at like 3 and waking up at 1 in the morning to draw. A stripper named Trixie just showed up. She said, I just got here. Start over, EVS. Oh, I wouldn't mind doing that. I wouldn't mind starting over. This was a fun stream. I enjoyed it. Okay, guys, I'm going to end the stream. And I love you all. Thanks for being here. Tomorrow, I'll have a couple of recorded videos up, and then we're going to do Hall & Oates. So make sure that you're here to watch a little bit of Hall & Oates music with me and Andrea. Love you guys. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for the new members joining. I appreciate it. And we'll see you again tomorrow. Have a great night, guys. Bye-bye.